Hey guys, welcome back. This is Tarun again, back with another fitness video. So in my last video, I talked about my experience with Clen, or in Indian context it's called clean, whatever, but you get the message. It's clenbuterol. And I also talked about it, how the synergy of clenbuterol with T3, which is cytomel, goes hand in hand, and bodybuilders across the globe, fitness models, use this combination to get results. So in this video, I'll talk about cytomel, more from an information perspective, for you to figure out what exactly this drug is and what exactly it do for people. Is it good for fat loss, or how does it work? So you ready? Let's go. So I used cytomel again, when I was doing a clenbuterol cycle. My experience with cytomel is pretty mixed. So first of all, let's understand what cytomel is. Cytomel is nothing but a T3 hormone. Now, for people who don't know what T3, T4 are, they're nothing but they are thyroid hormones. Anything when you play around with your thyroid, it involves metabolism. So these are the two hormones, T3 and T4, responsible for body's metabolism, which means, you must have heard people say I have a slow metabolism or I have a fast metabolism. So T3 and T4 have a lot of role to play in that, but 90% of the metabolism, T3 plays that critical role of that 90%. So that's why people who have a slow metabolism usually take T3, which is cytomel, to speed up that metabolism. Like you must have heard people saying that I have a thyroid problem. So there are majorly two types of thyroid problems that you will come across. One is the hyperthyroid, which means that your body produces too much of thyroid. That's why it leads to weight loss. These guys can never gain weight. And then there are a set of people, who don't produce enough thyroid in their bodies, which is the result of hypothyroidism. So cytomel T3 is given to people who don't produce enough thyroid in their bodies, so that they can actually speed up the metabolism. But you know how bodybuilders and fitness models are, they kind of use this drug to speed up their already fast metabolism, so that they could shed that extra body fat. Now you would ask that how is cytomel will make you lose weight? Now it's very, very simple, guys. You really don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure that out. Now, if your body's metabolism is slow, and if you were to take T3 cytomel, you will see, and especially if you stack it with clenbuterol, you see again, because clen increases your body temperature, T3 on the other hand increases your metabolism. So they both work hand in hand, which means one drug has increased your metabolism, which was anyway slow, and the other drug has raised your body temperature if it was very cold. So they both are leading for you to burn extra fat, which means that if you were to train, if you were to do any physical activity, you would be burning 5x or 6x more what you typically burn naturally. Again, as I said, 5x, 6x, it's that level. But again, it doesn't work on everybody. People think that by taking T3 and by taking T3 alone, by speeding up your thyroid, things will work. No, it doesn't work like that. Remember, T3 is actually a prescription drug, which is given to people who can't produce thyroid on their own. And remember, anything to do with metabolism, anything to do with thyroid, it's related to your lifestyle. So you must have seen people with thyroid problems take one tablet every friggin' morning without fail. Thyroid works exactly like any lifestyle disease, like a blood pressure or diabetes, which means you have to be on medication every friggin' day. Similarly, thyroid, guys, if you have, if you know in your friends, because usually thyroid is mostly common in women, you must have seen, because of these hormonal changes that they go through. So women are much more prone to developing thyroid, and also it runs in the family too, which is when you get passed on by your either your father or your grandfather, somewhere or the other, because it runs in the family. So T3, the first thing what people do, because it's a lifestyle disease, they wake up in the morning and the first thing they have to do is just take a T3 medication. So that dosage, depending on the level of thyroid problem you would have, so it may start with 25 mg or 40 mg or 60 mg, and as you move along, it tapered off, so that when your body gets used to it, and it starts working like that. What happens if you're a bodybuilder with no thyroid problem? Then you start taking T3. So it works exactly like you would start taking testosterone. Testosterone is a steroid. So what happens is when you inject testosterone artificially, which is in a form of an injection which is done externally, you stop your body's own production of testosterone, which means now your body is relying externally on that particular dosage and it's not producing testosterone on its own. Similarly, when you start taking T3 externally as a tab, and the dosage usually varies from 12.5 to 25 mcgs. So when you start taking externally, your body's ability to produce thyroid is obviously comes to a halt. Now again, your body is relying on that extra tablet, which in testosterone case it was an injection, in thyroid case it's a tab. So you really are not producing any of the thyroid of its own, though just like steroid, just like testosterone, when you stop taking testosterone, you follow a right PCT cycle, your testosterone cycle 90% of the time comes back, your body starts producing testosterone naturally. Same is the story with thyroid too. When you stop taking thyroid, obviously with T3 you really don't have to follow a PCT. It takes about 2-3 weeks for your body to start making that same thyroid hormone again on its own. But my experience is that, if you were to fuck around with your thyroid glands, it can go either way, because either if your body gets used to it, or if it's an instant reaction, or the body doesn't get used to it, you may even get more when you stop taking this drug, you may put on extensive amount of weight. Again, remember, these are prescription drugs made for patients. Like for example, I talked about clenbuterol. Clen is a drug given to asthma patient because it's an bronchodilatator. Man, is a tongue twister. Bronchodilatator. It's given to asthma patient, which opens up their airways. Similarly, T3 is a drug which is given to people who can't produce thyroid of their own, which is called a cytomel, so that they start producing them more and their metabolism increases. So it's a prescription drug. So you're playing around with a drug. That's why it doesn't come in a steroid category, it comes in a drug category. Now if you want to use it for bodybuilding, for your own gains, if you want to lose fat, again it's a trade-off. When I tried it, I didn't get much results of it, because maybe my fat percentage was already too high. As I talked about in my last video, that if your fat percentage is somewhere between 18 to 19%, if you start taking Clen and thyroid and this T3 together, cytomel together, you may be a little disappointed. But if your body fat is hovering between 11% to 14% and you start taking these drugs together, and as a synergy they would create, you may expect a dip about 2 to 3% in your body fat percentage. That's exactly how it works, because it's like this. Some drugs work like that when your body fats are already low. For example, a steroid category called masteron is a steroid which only works if your body fat percentage is low. If you were to inject masteron otherwise, it will not do anything to you. Same goes for winstrol, stanozolol, and same goes for any other steroid. So for you, that's why I always keep telling you that the only time you should think of taking drugs is only when if you're a competitive athlete, you've trained enough naturally that your body has stopped responding. 3, it should be the last resort, only if you have a point to prove to yourself. That's the only time you should think of taking these drugs. Otherwise, if your goal is to stay fit and socially you want to look good, certainly this is not the way to go about it. And cytomel is a dangerous drug, including Clen. So you really need to be cautious. The side effects, as I said, when you stop it, could lead to extensive amount of weight gain. And I've also seen people dying of heart attacks with Clen and T3 together. It's because of clenbuterol, because it raises your heart rate too much. I'm not trying to scare you guys, I'm just introducing you to reality, because every time you play with a drug, you should know the consequences of it, because bodybuilders know it and they still sign up for it because it's their job, because they're getting paid to get for their bodies. Not social people like you and me. We don't get anything out of it. I tried it because, again, there's something that I wanted to, so that I could share my experiences with you folks, so that you could learn something from it. So in my experience, don't try both these drugs, because unless and until you are a competitive athlete, they won't do anything. If you are already in a body fat bracket of over 16 to 17%, don't even think about it. Lower your body fat percentage naturally, and then give yourself a target that I want to take it to the next level. Then maybe you want to think about these things. So I hope this answers your questions about T3, this answers your question about cytomel and all about these thyroid glands. Remember, it has everything, life and body has everything to do with metabolism. Some people are born with fast metabolism, some people are born with slow metabolism. People who are born with slow metabolism, obviously they don't produce that much of thyroid, and that's why they stack it with T3, cytomel. So it's just that we use it differently for bodybuilding reasons. So weigh your pros and cons carefully and then only indulge into these things. So I hope this answers your question. Anyone of you have any questions around this, feel free to reach out to me either on my WhatsApp channel or on my Facebook or YouTube, and I'll be very happy to talk about this in detail. So until we meet again, peace.